Welcome to Just a Moment Ago podcast, episode 4. So, as I've been getting going, there's some things I'd like to address early on because I know as you continue and grow the comments and things, people make their, it can just get out of control. So, to start this, I want to just tell you a short story that goes with what this episode is about, and it fits really well with what I'm trying to get across in this episode. Now, this did just happen to me within the last few days here, and it did involve someone passing away, unfortunately, but I am going to still discuss this because I feel it fits very well with, again, this episode, and I just want to help to get it across the best that I can. So basically what happened was I've been watching my neighbor's dog for some time, for over 3 weeks. He went to the hospital. He told me that he was going to go to the hospital for 10 to 14 days and he would be back. As time went by, it was clear that was going to be longer. He contacted me quite a bit in the beginning, but through the last week or so, I didn't really hear from him much. It was around the 22nd day that he contacted me and said that he should still be in there for a week, but he was trying hard to push to get home for his birthday, which was 2 days away, but he was not ready to leave. He was trying to get home, but he should have been there for at least another week. So the next day, all of a sudden, he's home. He didn't call me. He didn't give me a heads up. He was just back. He was home. He was obviously in pain. He obviously was really struggling, but he was back. And I didn't have to watch the dog. He was back. So he did ask me if I could help a little bit, but that he was home, so I didn't have to go down there at night. It was a little bit different situation. So the next day, we find him outside on the deck in front of the house. The dog is out, running around, kind of standing in the front yard, and we find him leaning back against the deck, and he's unresponsive. He's not responding. My girlfriend starts CPR. She's trying to get him to respond. I'm on the phone with 911, and not responding. Multiple, we're talking, about 8 minutes. 8 minutes or so went by before first responders arrived. And she felt that she had gotten a pulse towards the end, but it's hard to say. And when first responders came, they actually kind of hesitated a little bit, which I was a little bit frustrated with. I felt that it could have been a little better response, but that's another story for another day. And they weren't able to save him in the end. He passed away right there in the yard. And after my girlfriend had worked on him for 10 minutes, and they weren't able to save him. The response team worked on him for quite a while, probably 20 minutes, 25 minutes before they said that they were told that they should stop. Now, he's home because he wanted to smoke marijuana. He said at the hospital that he could go without cigarettes, but not without marijuana. So he was fighting and being aggressive and yelling at the nurses and the doctors and his family and just everybody that he could to try to get out of the hospital. And he was successful. He pushed his way out of the hospital to get home because he just wanted to smoke some marijuana. Now, he smokes vapes, which vapes are high THC, 80% or more usually. He smokes, higher THC strains of flower, and So he has a mental addiction that when he was away from it for a couple weeks, he just couldn't handle it. He wanted to get home so bad just to smoke, just had to get home to smoke. And in doing that and being a jerk to people and fighting and yelling and pushing your way out of the hospital, passes away 2 days later. And it just really brings to light when people have an issue with a substance or their body's dependent on a medication, that time they need that just for the body to feel good. To feel even normal or to feel good. It can be very hard for that person to live life without that. So people that have those type of things going on are gonna do and act out sometimes if they don't get what they want. So even with this, he was just saying that he came home, he got out, it was his birthday, but then come to find out that after he passed away, that he was actually pushing and fighting to get out so that he could come home and smoke some marijuana, because that's all he kept thinking about while he was there. So there's typically more to the story. So now, because of that, now he's gone. His family is going to suffer and have to go through stuff and deal with the death. His dog initially went to the Humane Society. The police took it. But I know his brother was able to get it back out, and now he is going to take it over, and the dog will have somewhere to be. But it seems that a lot of us have let a substance impact our lives. And, in this case, it impacted this person's life to the very end. And that's where I want to discuss what goes on during the podcast. So when I invite someone, I have a short conversation with them about being themselves and about doing what they need to be comfortable and have a conversation. I ask people, if you're going to have a cigarette or whatever, just don't go overboard. Do things moderately while you're on the show, but I don't want people to be in a situation where they're not fully themselves. My goal with this is to bring you the realest version of each person who sits down with me, not someone being told they cannot do something while talking with me. And that is going to, because if you do that, if you're telling people, nope, if you're going to come over, you can't do this, can't do that, can't, a lot of people are going to be uncomfortable. They're not going to be themselves. They're not going to speak how they normally would. They're just going to want to rush through your questions, your conversation. They're not going to elaborate and answer things well because they just want to get out and go do what they want. So I just want to give people the opportunity to do what they want while having a conversation. Now, the wanting to get out does pertain more with people that have addictions than it does with illness, but there are also people with illnesses that take medication every day that are also dependent and have issues if they don't have what they need as well. So that's where everybody in each situation is unique in their own situation. So some are also in recovery and they're in healing stages, and they use like CBD vapes, certain strains of THC to feel a certain way. So when your body doesn't feel right, people are not going to be 100% themselves and comfortable while having a discussion with you. So for me, after I was in treatment for some time, roughly like 14 months or so, I was able to quit smoking cigarettes. I was actually up to almost 2 packs a day. And it was really getting pointless. They were doing nothing at that point. But I was still smoking, a large amount of marijuana, though, but not quite as much, but still a lot, So within the next year, though, I actually started smoking cigars, like real premium cigars, after I got away from cigarettes. and was able to stop smoking marijuana for some time, which I think because of the premium cigars, which are, they're like a fine wine, and you get involved with the communities a little bit, you learn about it, you can meet different people, so it's a little bit different culture than just like a cigarette or something like that. There's more to it. It's still tobacco, but there's just more of a culture surrounding it. There's more conversations, and it's not, cigars are just the plain tobacco leaves rolled up. It doesn't have all the additives cigarettes have, things like that. I'm talking real premium cigars, not over-the-counter cigars that you get that are machine rolled. I mean hand-rolled premium cigars you get from a humidor. So, and I also, with the cigars, you don't feel as addicted at all. You can go without smoking cigars for a while. With cigarettes, it's every few minutes, and people are needing that cigarette. So, and for me, I started walking with my cigars. Now I walk 2 to 3 miles a day, have a cigar. So to me, it's been more of a positive change to fill some time rather than just standing around smoking cigarettes every 15, 20 minutes. Cigars aren't addicting or craving like that for me, So, but that's where, for me, I see what I do. I know what I like to do, and I don't want people to tell me or try to say be this way or that way. So if I want to invite somebody to come over and come on and have a discussion, I want them to be able to come on and have a discussion any way that they feel comfortable to sit down and have a discussion. There's a wide range of people that you see going through these things, from addiction to illness. It's young, old, it's big, small. There's men, women, trans, straight, gay. Every different type of person is going through addictions or illnesses, recovering and going through some sort of thing like that. It doesn't matter. There's multiple different types of people, and everybody has their story. So even someone like me, though, who tries hard not to judge and understand everyone, I still have my own story, my own pain that I'm battling. And so many are just trying to do what it takes to be normal and comfortable in their body again. Like, I feel like that's one of the toughest things is not. There was a time before some of these things happened when you probably did feel good in your body, when you did feel normal in your body, and then things happen, and now all of a sudden you are crawling out of your skin. Every day you don't feel right as yourself. That's one of the toughest things to get through, and I just try to remind myself that, medicated treatment is damage control. And, if we didn't have methadone, a lot of people would be put in a lot worse situations. If we didn't have these facilities and treatments, and, pregnant women, their unborn children would be at higher risk. So it's good that we have, the choices and the things that we do have for people, so that at least there is ways to get help and to make better choices to get through the day and to heal yourself better. So it's all about living life to the fullest and living the best that you can. It's unfortunate that people are being addicted and getting pregnant while being addicted, and then bringing kids into the world, addicted right away, and that's the first thing they have to do is fight withdrawal before they even get to start to live life. They're already battling someone else's battle, basically. That's the parents' battle. That's not the baby's battle, So they got to go through it. So you got to try to make better choices if you can, if not for you, for those around you, because it's the ones around you who tend to suffer the most when we make bad decisions. So I really hope that this helps understand, I help people understand just a little bit more. Like, people will push and they will go to extreme lengths to get what they need, whether it's something as simple as marijuana. Like, my neighbor here lost his life because he didn't want to stay in the hospital and do what needed to be done at the hospital. He thought he could come home and go back to he was going to go back to the hospital every single day for the next 2 weeks was the plan. But he didn't even make it 2 days at home, being out of the hospital, being not monitored. I mean, he was cut up, his stomach, his legs. He had 9 hours of surgery. He had lost a lot of blood. It's amazing that he was even home, but I guess he was really acting out, and they made a decision that if he's going to act that way, he obviously wants to be home so bad that they found a way to get him there, but he wasn't able to maintain and stay at home, which is really unfortunate. So I just hope that it helps people to understand that if you see people doing certain things or acting a certain way, it's just because that's where they are in their life right now. That's where they are. That's where they've found their comfort. Not that it's right. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying that's where they might be right now. And I want to help people go to recovery and find healing any way that I can, because I have been through addiction, and I have been and am living with a very bad stomach issue that I have not solved yet. So I do know both sides of that coin as far as addiction and illness, and now I'm trying to fight and find my recovery and healing, which has been one of the absolute toughest journeys of my life to go through. But every day I just find a way to keep going. You find your way, you can't give up. There's no giving up. You just lay down and just say whatever. Like, even with my fatigue, even though that some days I only get 3 to 6 hours of actual energy to be awake, I will still try to figure out, like, what can I do in that little bit of time, even if I have to be sleeping or not, completely fatigued out within 6 hours of my day. What am I going to do in those 6 hours? Can I do anything? I mean, if you don't have, like, for me, if I don't have my priorities, then I sit there trying to figure out what I'm doing, and I never get anywhere because I waste my energy trying to figure out where to start. It's better to have a little plan and know what you need to get done. But this was just a short episode. I really wanted to touch on, sharing that experience of, going through that with him passing, and then understanding that he only was home, and is only passed right now because he refused to stay in the hospital because he just wanted to smoke marijuana, which, I mean, he must have really thought he'd be able to come home and sit there and do that and be able to manage, and didn't realize just how bad it was. I mean, on the outside looking in, you could see how bad it was, but I don't think wanted to accept that. And, now we are where we are, and he is where he is because of a choice that he made, and it's unfortunate. So, but hopefully, people can learn from that and move on, that you can't be, one thing that people need to do for themselves too, that I'm kind of realizing, is don't allow yourself to be in a position where you need something like caffeine or a cigarette or marijuana or a CBD vape or anything, nicotine, whatever. Don't use things moderately, and then you won't have to worry about things happening where you will go without, because you won't mind if you go without. It's something that you do for fun, recreationally, once in a while, not something that you live on daily, that is basically what keeps you going. Like, you're stimulating yourself to the max every day so that you can keep going. That's not an answer. That's a short-term sort of solution to get through something, but it's not going to last long. It's just going to burn you out, create feelings of anxiety, create feelings like bad emotions, negative emotions, because you're using substance, and you're making your body more stimulated, not naturally. You're doing it the wrong way. So you really have to see how to do things the right way before you can even begin to start feeling good or begin to stop to, let go of some of these things that we do. And I say we because I've been through it. I'm not saying I still do it. I'm saying I've been through it. I've seen it. I've been around things and I've saw the pain and the struggles and lived through a lot of it personally. But I'm going to end this here. I do appreciate you guys and gals for listening. I hope that this helps understand, what people do and the needs people have and the lengths that people will go to get what they want too, Even if the life's on the line, they're still going to go to the lengths to get what they want. It's really it's interesting to me that the way the mind works, that we'll push ourselves to the brink just to get what we want, but it's a struggle. All these people going through that are struggling inside to feel normal, to feel good. It's a constant struggle day in and day out. That's what's crazy too. Is a lot of it, once you go through it, it doesn't just end one day. There's always that struggle there. You have to figure out how to fight it and have your ways of beating it and overcoming. And once you start to do it, after a while, it's easier to just overcome more and more instead of giving in. So, thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe. Stay safe, stay happy, stay humble, stay healthy. Make good choices for yourself and the ones around you.